with your hosts, Tricky Nick, Alex, I Yield to No One, Sid, and Ender Phoenix.
And welcome everybody to another thrilling episode of Trophy Horrors, episode number 677. You know, another 100 episodes, it'll be 777, which some will say is the lucky number, which means Tricky will definitely be at that show. Right, Tricky?
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. Sorry for missing the last couple weeks. It's been a little crazy with work and everything, but I'm back. So, glad to be here.
Indeed, he's back. Yeah, and we're glad you're here, too. And you know who else we're glad is here? Alex. How you doing, Alex?
We started getting to this episode, you might regret saying that.
I guess. I guess we'll find out.
Not quite sure what that
Come
means.
on, man. A little self-deprecating humor never hurt anybody.
No, I am good with you being here. I am always good with you being here. Also,
fine, Matt. I'll buy in. If you're doing gambling jokes, if you're talking about gambling with 777, I'll buy in.
Yeah, well, you got 100 episodes until you need to buy in. But in the meantime, we appreciate you showing up.
I buy into every fucking show, man. I bring it every fucking show, all in.
That is accurate. That's very accurate. Also appreciative of being here is Yield, which means we have the entire gang, folks. How you doing, Yield?
Well, you know, it's perfect that everybody is here, because if listeners to the show every week remember, and this has been kind of a while ago, I got a platinum in a game that I said I would platinum before Tricky did, and I have done that.
Is it the game I'm thinking of?
I don't know. You'll find out when we get to what I've been playing.
Yes, Tricky, it's Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yes! Darn it, Alex, you killed it.
I would actually pay money if Yield actually played an Assassin's Creed game.
How much?
There's got to be some like time period in history or some setting. Like for me, it was Egypt. There's got to be some setting for Yield that he would buy into Assassin's Creed game.
How much would you pay if I played an Assassin's Creed game?
1 penny.
Then forget it.
But even if it was big money, I didn't say I would pay it to you. I just said I would pay money for that.
Hold on, Tricky. What if you bought him an Assassin's Creed game?
One, he would never even open it out of the plastic. And two, he would not play it just out of spite.
Well, if you bought him the
That is
wrong
a po-
one, if you bought him like Syndicate or something like that, yeah, he wouldn't play it out of spite, but
I could
See,
buy him every game, and he would play it. He wouldn't play it out of spite. This is the same guy that when everybody was doing the ice bucket challenge years ago, I challenged him, and he said, "I'm not doing it because everybody else is doing it."
Yep, pretty much.
well, I mean, technically, not everyone is playing Assassin's Creed games, Tricky, so we're safe there.
Yeah, well, Yield is in his get off my porch days. So if it's the popular trend, he ain't doing it. If somebody wants him to do it, he ain't doing it.
Pretty sure we're all in those days now. We're all yelling at the
Yield,
clouds just
am I
all the
talking
time.
shit or am I being accurate?
Bald fist in the air, screaming at the clouds. I think we're all doing that on different days.
It depends on what it is, but for the most part, yes. And I kind of always have gone against what everybody else goes against. I've always kind of not overly beat to my own drum, but if everybody's going over here because that's what's cool, I'm going the other way.
Matt, how the hell are you
Wow.
doing?
You should have bet. It's a good thing you didn't bet good money because you would have lost good money. I've played an Assassin's Creed game, and you were there.
Oh, that doesn't count.
But it's an Assassin's Creed game.
You were doing that in a group. That you're not sitting down and playing the single player story of a game just for the fun of it.
I did too because I got the platinum.
No. But you got all the multiplayer trophies before you started playing the single player, correct?
No, I was. Well, maybe I did. I don't remember. But then I went ahead and played the single player because there was rumors of the server shutting down. So I played it, and I really enjoyed it.
I'm gonna go look it up, but I think you only started the single player after we did.
No, you're right because JT was like he thought the servers were going to get shut down. The one where you have to do all the community challenges or something like that. There's something fishy about that. And then I was like, well, there is rumors of a remaster coming out, so he's probably on the right track. So you know what? Let's just do it. And I did it.
Yeah,
You're not wrong.
That's one I gotta go back and get.
And I got that one before you too. Ha.
Well, it's because
I
you
know,
guys stopped playing the multiplayer.
But this game coming up was one that you said, or that you were picking on me for not playing it. And I'm like, I'll still get the platinum before you. And I did. So
Well, I know what you're talking about, and I abandoned it. But
that's all right. See, that's why I'm a better gamer than you are.
no, I'm a better gamer than Alex.
How do you
Ooh.
figure that?
Ooh, the gauntlet's coming down.
We'll get into that in what we're playing.
Yeah, so as someone who has the Bioshock Infinite Platinum, Tricky, I don't think you could ever get that Platinum trophy because, well, one, you can't do first person, so scoff.
Hold on a
that.
second. Hold on. I can do first person. I don't like doing first person. I've gotten a
Okay.
first person platinum.
Oh, you've got one first person Platinum, Tricky? We're so proud.
I've gotten 3 off the top of my head.
The spam ones don't count.
Nope, no spam ones.
Nope, legit ones. Well,
Legit
what are
ones.
they? I'm curious now.
Portal 2.
Okay, all right, that's a good one.
Resistance Burning Skies, the one on the Vita.
Okay, that was good. Okay, I enjoyed that one.
And Call of Duty, I don't remember the name, but it was also on the Vita.
Didn't play that one. I played Unit 13.
And I'm not counting the VR ones because that to me is that's not first person. I mean, it is first person.
All VR is first person, isn't it? I mean,
I think Moss is second person, all things considered.
Oh, really?
Is that
I did
technically
not know
second
that.
person or is that still third person?
I don't know because the way third person to me, if you're asking me what third person is, it means usually over the shoulder or
You're seeing the
behind-
back of you're seeing the back of your character.
Yeah. to me, for my personal opinion, second person is more like you're controlling an avatar that goes and performs actions for you. I know it's a subtle difference, but kind of like a static map or like you're pointing and clicking where somebody's going, kind of like Return to Monkey Island or
I was gonna say like kind of like the old computer games where you're like,
Yeah.
hey, walk over here.
yeah. Because to me, third person is you're hovering over that person's shoulder. I again, I'm not the official source of this. I'm just making an assumption off of my own personal experience. There probably is a actual definition of what a second person game.
I just Googled
is.
it, and it says second person video games where the player experiences the game from the perspective of another character interacting with the player's avatar are rare. While not a common game perspective, examples are Pac-Man 2: The New Adventures, and certain sections of games like Driver San Francisco and Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions demonstrate this concept.
Interesting.
In second-person perspective, the player doesn't directly control the character they see, but rather experience the game through the eyes of someone else interacting with that character. This is a distinct from first-person where you see through your character's eyes, and third-person where you see your character from an outside perspective.
Wonder why they said Driver San Francisco. Is it because
They
you
said
can jump bodies?
They said certain sections, like the example they gave for Driver San Francisco says certain chase sequences put the player in the perspective of another car following their player's own car.
Yeah, you can, but okay, I see what. Yeah, so it's when you can switch bodies, quote unquote, switch bodies. Without ruining it, that's what you're doing.
But another example of a VR game that's not first person is the Astrobot games. You're controlling the character running around on the field. So
You're not so you're not seeing it through Astrobot.
no.
Okay.
Think of like the Astrobot game that you see on like on the PlayStation 5.
Okay.
Or even like the tech demo. Same concept, but the VR headset is you looking down on the thing and you can look around, and the camera doesn't, the camera moves but the character doesn't.
Okay, so it's kind of a top down, kind of like a top down, but you can look left and right.
Right. It's a top down where instead of using like the right stick to move the camera left and right, you just move your head.
Gotcha.
In the chat, Will Ain't Dead said Call of Duty on Vita.
Yeah.
Was there a Call of Duty?
Yeah, there was a Call of Duty on Vita.
I can't call him a liar because I don't care for Call of Duty, so I didn't play it. So
You're not alone there.
I'll believe him.
It was called Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified.
Okay, I do remember that. I remember hearing about that game.
It came out 12 years ago, and it's Call of Duty's most hated game. The initial release date was November 13th of 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't imagine playing a first-person shooter on the Vita. Sounds terrible.
I mean, Killzone wasn't horrible.
It wasn't bad. It makes you want to play it on the bigger screen.
Wasn't horrible and wasn't bad are not compliments, by the way. Those are not good.
Will, you're not wrong.
That sounds like playing a game that's been dumbed down for a Nintendo console.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Will.
Touche. All right, let's keep the show moving. Let's get into our updated trophy counts. Tricky, you got your little chart up?
I did. I just lost it. Hold on.
It's not like we've been doing this for 676 episodes.
I was Googling, sir, okay?
You're almost wrong on that, Yield. You were trying to make a point and you were almost wrong.
Bringing it back up right now. I am level 968 total trophies of 34,556 with 999 plats. My new 1,000 plat is changing. It's not going to be Assassin's Creed anymore.
Okay.
I bet you he's going for the game that Alex is playing, trying to beat him to it.
Maybe.
I mean, that's
Alex?
fine. Just because he gets there first doesn't mean he's better than me. It just means he got there first.
This would be
Well, so
this-
side note. So I was looking at this the other night. Nitro and I were in a chat, and I'm like, oh look, they're both playing the same game. I wonder. I kind of was like, I wonder if Tricky's trying to beat him to it. And so I was looking. Alex was more percentage trophy wise. 4% at the time I looked, which was I think Saturday night. Alex was 4% higher in 4 less hours completion percentage trophy wise than Tricky was. I'm just putting that out there.
Also, I
Okay.
believe Tricky actually started it before I did.
no.
I think he's been playing the game longer than I have.
Nope. I started after. I think I started last Sunday. My first trophy ever in the
Alex.
game was June 15th.
Okay, let's keep the show moving. Alex, your counts, please.
Shit, that's where we're. Sorry, my audio is fucking up again. I do not know why, but it's definitely off. So,
All right,
Goddamn.
we'll skip Alex for now while he figures out some of his technical difficulties. Yield your counts.
I am a newly minted 531 with the trophy count of 11,197 and newly minted platinum count of 215. Got my platinum for June, so I've gotten one a month so far. I was a little worried there because I burned through 4 last month and didn't know if I kind of screwed myself, but I got one, so we're good. We all can breathe now.
Okay. I am level 222, still at 1,337 trophies, 0 platinums. I have not turned on my PS5 for probably over a month or so now. It's just sitting there in a depowered state. I might as well pack it as I'm trying to get ready to move, because I don't think I'm going to turn it on before we actually make the transition. Sid is level 894 with 27,380 trophies and 851 platinums. As we transition into the rest of the show, Tricky, is there a trophy rarity update?
There is. Diego scored 94 points to keep him at the top of Division 1 and now has a lead of 42 points from Pee-wee going into the final week. Pee-wee did close the gap slightly by netting the highest score of the week with 105, moving her to 2,141. Marky Frazier is still in contention in third with 2,119, meaning 64 points separate the top 3 going into the final week. MZ had a good week, earning himself 71 points, including 4 platinums. At the bottom, it looks like a straight shootout between Alex and Tricky, trying to decide who stays up. Tricky has the advantage, earning himself 12 points this week, taking him to 478, while Alex had 15 and closed marginally to closing up to 29 points. Resident Daryl scored well this week with 41, and another strong week could see him leapfrog both to Savvy. Ain't happening. Yield earned 42 points this week and sits comfortably in 6th place. In Division 2, the top 3 are Doc Chicken, Psychiatrist, and CJ, but are all but promoted. Psychiatrist top scored out of those 3 weeks with 60 points. Highest score of the week in Division 2 and moving him up to 14th and 13th was the Brain 76, with 69 points, taking him to 358. Rarest trophies of the week in 5th place, and for the first time this season, is Resident Daryl with Conqueror in Stick Fight at 6.17%. 4th goes to MZ and Migoats a lot, who both earned the Stay Hydrated new Minecraft DLC trophy at 4.38. 3rd is roll on my fucking ROFFLLOZ. Wow. With Completionist and Balatro at 2.88%. Woodfield's won with Pod Racing Prodigy and Star Wars Racers Revenge at 2.07%. And at the top of the week was VE and Call of Duty World War II at 1.4%. Plat shout-outs go to Nightmare 317 for, I thought that said Tilton Tiles. Murray 2011 for Cat Quest 2. That one Seagull for achieving it in Sly 2 Honor Among Thieves. Migoats a lot got it in Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Diego got the plat in World War II, which was also the rarest plat of the week at 1.4%. Pee-wee earned 2 plats in Until Dawn and Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl. And mentioned earlier, Nitro hit 4 in SnowRunner, Helldivers 2, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Rainbow Six Siege. And Yield earned his platinum in
Star Wars Outlaws.
but he said I may want to let you announce that, so I did. Congrats to all those earning quality plats. That's it.
Alrighty. Thank you for that update, Tricky. Thank you guys for keeping track of all that. I know it's not something I care about, but a lot of people do, so I'm not going to disparage others for going for the gold. Good luck, everybody. And checking in with our man Alex, you back?
I can be, yes. Just real quick, I haven't had this many issues until Discord. Do we think maybe Discord is causing issues for me?
I don't think so.
I mean, potentially it's a heavier program than Skype, just by nature of what it does compared to what Skype does.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to talk about it off the show to figure out what our step is, because nothing else out there is as free as Discord, at least not currently. But it's something for us to discuss.
All right. Well, I am recording again. Let me know when you want to count down.
We'll count down now at 5, 4, 3,
3,
2,
2,
1.
1.
Alrighty, and we've got Alex back now, so we are going to move into what we've been playing. Why don't we start with you, Alex?
Did we do Alex's trophies?
Alex is level 522 with 10,677 trophies and 194 platinums in 193 games. I get that right?
Nailed it, Matt.
Yes.
You nailed the dismount.
Perfect.
I was really hoping you would forget the end.
I had him. I had the ball if Matt missed it.
And Alex and I had this conversation a couple of shows ago when it was just me and him duoing it, so we're good.
Yes, I know. I listened to the show. What's up, Nitro? What's up, Will?
You.
Nitro's in the chat. What's up, Nitro? I'm sorry, Matt. I'm derailing you.
Yeah, you are. This entire show is already derailed at 21 minutes in. Alex, why don't you go into what you've been playing?
So I guess Tricky and I have been playing the same game. We'll see if he can actually. Well, I mean, he can always play on easy, so I'm sure he'll be able to get the platinum at some point. But really, just I bought into the new Rocket Pass, so I'm back playing Rocket League. I'm back on my bullshit for the 10th anniversary of the game. Hard to believe that game's been out for 10 years, but there are some good rewards in this Rocket Pass, so I definitely had to buy into it. Yield, did you look through the rewards yet?
I did, and I played some Friday night.
But you agree that the rewards worth buying in on?
Yeah, there's some cool wheels. The cars are okay. The 2 goal scores are really good. I was never a fan of the dabbing Grim Reaper. Still not a fan of it, but the skulls coming out, chasing it out of the portal is cool. So it makes it what's the word I'm looking for? Not
more
doable,
agreeable,
but more agreeable. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, they gave us a free goal score, and they also have 2 goal scores in the Rocket Pass, and they're the Hellfire and the Reaper, which are 2 goal scores that have been around for a while, but they added new flair to them. Essentially, they added extra smaller skulls flying out of the goal for those. So back on Rocket League and playing some more Helldivers as well. Got the new War Bond. Still trying to finish out the old War Bond, but that's not really going to take me all that long. So I'm trying to play those games a little bit every day instead of just rushing through them all in one night. Playing hours and hours of Rocket League with how frustrating that matchmaking is just isn't for me. Most of my time, though, has been spent in the Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. And so I've beaten the 4th boss. I'm about 50% through the story, as the PlayStation home screen tells me. And the way I kind of play these games, or the way I play a lot of games, is I open up as much of the map as I can and kind of come back to what I can later. So I'm not just like zipping to the end. I'm kind of opening everything up. So I'm getting upgrades, upgrading my weapons so they're better in combat for me. So really, it's kind of like the way I just like to play. I feel like opening more of the map and finding more of the secrets and finding more of the rooms allows me to become stronger as I go along. So when you fight the bosses and some of the tougher enemies, you're in a better spot. So like I said, beat 2 more bosses since we last talked. One of them is story related, so I'm not going to mention the name, but or potentially a spoiler. The other one is the giant snake that I've been talking about for weeks and weeks. And I had mentioned last time, I don't know, I really like the 2D bosses. I don't know if it's because when you're not working in a 3D space, there's a better, it's easier to plan things out and to program them or to develop ideas for how they're going to fight. But just these kind of games. Like, Outland was another really good example. Of course, I love me some Mega Man. Tales of Kenzera, Symphony of the Night, of course, and then Guacamelee. Stuff like this, like, they've always, for the most part, got really good boss fights. And I don't know if that's a 2D thing or whatnot, but that whole perspective just seems for me like to jive really well, like to what I like to see in a boss. And there, even if it's like not like a big open 3D world, like they're always like impressive, like in the visually and then like size wise. So I think again, I'll give some credit to the team here at Ubisoft. They did a good job so far with the bosses. Even though the second boss I think had too many attacks, too many phases, they've kind of reined that in the last 2 bosses, which have been far more. Didn't beat them my first time playing them. Beat them though a few times after that. So a lot easier to handle, a lot easier to learn the boss patterns because they're not completely overloading you with everything. Still, challenging though. So. The last thing I'll say about this game, I do love the look of the game. The art style I think is fantastic, but I like when games reward you for playing defensively, like not just hack and slashing. Because like, as much as I enjoyed the first God of War, I feel like I went into that game like hack and slash like bonanza, and it kind of made things a lot less exciting. Like, I don't want to say that game's not exciting, but the combat just kind of, you're doing the same things over and over again. This game, when you do parries, they've got like these gold attacks, and like the enemies will flash gold when they're going to do these, but they're basically like, if you hit them on weaker enemies, they're an instant kill, and if you hit them on bosses, they take a big chunk out of their life. And if you've got like amulets are some of the collectibles that you can get that give you different effects, different buffs and stuff for your character and everything. One of the amulets will give you health back when you parry successfully, which obviously can be a boon to you in when you're going through the map and fighting all the creatures and stuff. And also it fills up your Athra gauge, which is your Athra gauge is essentially your super move. So you want to have those as much. They're the most damaging moves. You want to be able to use those as often as possible. So I really like how the game rewards you for parrying and playing defensively and getting the timing down. Now again, like all things with this game, you can go into the options and make parrying easier. You can enlarge the window for parries. You can make it so that you can parry front to back, or regardless of which side you're facing, you can parry attacks. But yeah, overall, I'm just enjoying the game because not only because it's the offensive side of the game is fun, but also being able to parry and play defense is also a very big add to the experience. So yeah, just trying to get through the Lost Crown. I'm really, honestly, I'm fighting the clock, but it's not because of Tricky. I'm fighting the clock because my subscription to PlayStation Plus ends here in like maybe 20 or so days, and I have to get through the game plus the DLC. Otherwise, I have to re-up to PlayStation Plus Extra. So yeah, if anything,
or
I'm fighting
you could
against
just buy
PlayStation
the
Plus,
game.
not Tricky.
Or you could just buy the game.
Well, I got to see how much it is, but I've already like gotten through half the game. Chances are we'll beat. I may not get to the DLC, but I'll beat the fucking I'm gonna have to buy the DLC for $5 regardless. That didn't come with the package for when it's on PlayStation Plus Extra, so I have to buy that at the very least. But why am I gonna buy the game when I've basically have a subscription to PlayStation Plus, and that's the benefit of it being on a subscription service? I can play it with my all-in-one price. Why would I buy the game then?
Because you're supporting the developer that wants another game.
It's Ubisoft.
So?
I've said it, I think I said it last episode. This is the first Prince of Persia game I've ever played. I'm not really a big fan of what Ubisoft is doing. Yes, I like this game, but that doesn't mean that I, think that Ubisoft is on the right track in any way. I don't know. We'll see. If it depends. Depending on what the price is, or maybe I'll leave it as a wish list item and see when it goes on sale, if that helps out. But I don't know. Just seems like it'd be more financially prudent to just speed through the game and try to get the platinum trophy before then.
It's $20.
It's $20. That's not bad, but I don't know.
It's been on sale before because I've kept an eye on it.
And the DLC is
Oh, I'm
$5.
sure. I mean, Ubisoft games quite frequently go on sale.
And the DLC is $5.
And I mean, that's not a jab at Ubisoft. I just feel like their games, like they've always got games on sale. So
One more time.
I don't know. I'll keep an eye on it, but I still got a good amount of time to get through it. So
And the
You'll
DLC is
get-
only
I'm interested-
$5.
what's that?
And the DLC is only $5.
Well, yeah, I said that. I said $5.
I'm just reiterating.
Yeah, but I'm interested since that's what I've been playing. I'm interested to hear what Tricky thinks of Prince of Persia because he is. We know he's a mark for Ubisoft. We know he loves them, but I don't know, Tricky. What are your thoughts on it? Since you're apparently trying to beat me to the platinum.
I'm not really trying to beat you to the platinum because I don't think I'm going to get this platinum. Because I'm just getting frustrated on certain parts. I actually beat the game today. I beat it this morning, finished it. I like it. It's
What
one
are
of the
you
better.
getting frustrated on?
Some of these platform sections where you have to like jump in between spikes, and if you make one mistake, you go all the way back to the beginning.
I mean, they do checkpoint you through some of those sections. It's not like you like if you die, then yeah, like okay. So you have a full health bar, and then also if you upgrade your health, you can get 4 potions to refill your health. So it's not like you have one attempt at this. But
No.
even
you
during
have-
each platforming section, they'll kind of checkpoint you as you go along. I don't think you have to go all the way back to the beginning if you fail.
Yes, you do.
In some instances, if you don't go far enough, maybe. But I've also played enough of the game and been frustrated with some of the platforming challenges where I can tell you they absolutely do checkpoint you in the middle of them,
Okay.
or 2/3 through, or whatever.
And I'm telling you, the part that I'm doing, it doesn't do that because you have to get through the entire thing before checkpoints.
Is it in the secret room on the elevator
No.
where you got to jump over all the buzzsaws?
No. Oh, where the hell am I?
You should be in your room in New York somewhere.
You're a dick.
Yes, yeah, that is true.
I don't know how to describe it without spoiling something for you.
Obviously, you're farther along in the game than Alex.
Yes.
Well, he says he beat the game, so yeah.
And I have more trophies.
The question is, has he opened up as much of the map as I have?
I have.
Probably not.
I
Oh,
have.
You have. Okay.
I have. After I
I
beat
lost that bet.
after I beat the game today, I spent like 3-4 hours doing collectibles. Doing all those.
Now, okay. So I am curious about this though, since you beat it already. So
Okay.
did you play it on easy or did you play it on? I'm guessing Alex played it on normal.
I am playing on normal, yes.
Okay.
I didn't change it, so I would assume I'm on normal.
Oh, okay then.
Well, you have to pick your difficulty at the beginning of the game, but you can change it throughout. But if you picked normal or warrior when you started and you didn't touch it, then yeah, you'd have been playing on warrior
Yeah.
throughout the entire one.
Okay. The only way I can describe this is there's 2 secret areas in the game. I'm trying to get to one of them, and you have to do this difficult platforming section. And I've touched the wall at the end and failed, and it sent me back to the beginning. So there's no checkpoint.
Okay, I mean, I don't know where exactly you are, but I mean, I can concur that there are some difficult platforming challenges in this game. I'm not going to deny that.
Some of these are just brutally hard.
Well, one of the hardest ones, at least some of the feedback I've seen, your reward is a skin. It's like a clothing item. So
That's the one. That's the one I'm going after.
I just asked you if that was like midway through, you have to like use like the realm shifting to make some of the buzzsaws disappear, right? Or go into another universe.
No. I'm not dealing with any buzzsaws. I'm dealing with spikes, purple and gray spikes.
Okay, well, you're not talking about the same thing. Then.
Okay.
I'll eventually get there, I assume.
I mean, if somebody wants to go on the Twitch page and watch the video on demand, I was streaming it today, so you can see exactly where it was if you're really that interested. But yeah, some of these, I think I'm gonna be able to go through and do this, but some of these are just, it's time consuming. Like, you gotta fully upgrade your stuff. You gotta collect all the amulets. You gotta, find this. You gotta get that. But there's 2 secret rooms that are gonna be the most challenging for me. Other than that, I think I'm good. Also, Alex, you're playing on the PS5. Apparently, I'm playing the PlayStation 4 version. Didn't know that.
Well, you didn't know that?
I didn't realize it. I just downloaded the game.
Oh, see, I figured. Well, see, so when Nitro and I was talking about this, I'm like, he did one of 2 things. He either didn't realize what he downloaded, or he downloaded the 4 version to play the 4 version to auto pop all the trophies on the 5 version, and that's the reason I'm going with.
Honestly, I didn't even know there was 2 different versions of the game.
Oh, I got it wrong.
So I don't even think there's an auto pop. I could be wrong. Will I auto pop? Yes, but
I don't know. Do all games? I thought all games auto pop. Not all games auto pop.
Not all games auto pop.
Oh, okay then. Well, I don't know what I'm talking about then.
Hold on. Apparently, you can cloud pop it. Maybe, I don't know. Matt, I know we're boring the shit out of you, so why don't we get on with the show?
I would just like to continue the show. So
Matt's been very quiet.
Doing stuff. Is that all you've been playing, or do you have more?
Played a little bit of Division, but mostly that's all I played.
All right. Yield, you want to tell us what you've been playing this week?
So, I've been playing my usual plethora of games. I did play some Rocket League, got into the new season pass, was playing with Nitro and the Brain 76. I've been playing Helldivers 2 this week, working on the latest War Bond, getting some more super credits, so that way I'm ready for not only the next War Bond, but when it comes around to where you can purchase stuff out of the Superstore that pertains to the Freedom Force War Bond, the one we were working on, I can get the handgun. I've been doing that with the Brain 76, Prepare to Die or Scum, and Nitro. We were helping him a lot this week, getting his platinum in that. Let's see here. Played a little Roadcraft. Still working on my first real map after the tutorial. Nitro and I played some Payday 3. I told you all last week that I was going to try to get into Serial Cleaners Dino Park DLC. I have done that. I have made my way through it twice. Now all I have left is I need to play it's 4 stages. I need to play all 4 stages and not get busted in each one. And then that's a trophy. And then you have to beat it. You have to beat the game, all the stages in gold times. So when it comes to that point, I'm just going to look up a video and see how they did it, because I'm not going to try to beat my head over a wall to try to get it down that low. When I went back through to find all the collectibles, I kind of tried not get busted. I almost made it through the last level and didn't get busted. And I was able to trim off a lot of time, but I'm still a good 5 to 10 minutes off on some of the levels, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna watch a video. But I have enjoyed it. I've been playing some firefighting simulator, the squad with Nitro. We started working on our multiplayer together. As you all heard from the rarity update, Star Wars Outlaws was my latest platinum. Ha, tricky, beat you to it. Told you so. And I told you all that I would try to get back into Star Trucker. I did. I'm starting to wonder if I should have just not played the one where I have to maintenance my truck so much, because golly, that thing eats through batteries like it's at a smorgasbord or something. Because I feel like every other mission I did, I had to make my way to the shop to buy more batteries to replace a battery here or there. But I am enjoying the game. I need to not carry so much speed into turns because it's space and it's basically a drifting turn and I run into stuff. I had to patch a lot of holes in my truck already. So, but I'm digging it. It's a different kind of, I guess you would say, simulation game that I'm not used to. So I'm really enjoying it. I can't fly straight or turn straight to save my life. I go to turn and I end up, because I don't left or right straight on my thumbstick, I kind of go up at an angle. And so my truck will go up or down. So it's kind of like a roller coaster if you're watching me drive. I'll get better, but yeah, I think that is everything I've touched this week.
Alrighty. For myself, just a lot of jumping back and forth between the Switch and other things. On the Switch 2 front, I've been playing more Mario Kart World. I've also broken into a new playthrough of Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. And I went back and I started playing Enter the Gungeon, which is a fun roguelike adventure type game where you enter a gun-themed dungeon crawl. Let's see what else on the Switch. I don't think anything else on the Switch. On the PC front, I did more Doom the Dark Ages. I completed the next chapter, and I was very annoyed that I completed the stage at a 98% completion rate, which means if I want to get the extra 2%, I have to go back and replay the level. More Elden Ring Night Rain, just getting destroyed as we play along as usual. But today, I actually want to talk about that. I went to my niece's birthday party at a place called Yestercade, which is a pay-by-the-hour arcade. And it's got all sorts of old games and cabinets and actual stations with updated consoles. And I mainly focused on like a lot of older stuff. Like they had an Altered Beast cabinet that I was playing through. I like that game a lot, and it's just fun to play through it on the cabinet. Then they also had some Time Crisis, as well as some pinball machines. I played a South Park pinball machine, which is a lot of fun.
I love pinball machines.
They also had a Capcom bowling game, you know, with one of the roller balls on it. And I think ended. Yeah. I ended my round with 153, which is pitiful. But I got screwed over on some strikes at the end, so I was not happy with that. Let's see. V and I played some Police Trainer Simulator, which is you go through a bunch of time-based or accuracy-based tests just to see who can get the high score. You have to pass each test with a minimum number. And I think that was all I really played while I was there today. I hung out with one of my best friends, and it was just, you know, we haven't seen each other for a while, even though we talk to each other every so often. It's nice to actually just sit and talk with him one-to-one in person. But that's all I've really put time into this week. As I've mentioned multiple times, we're in the process of getting the house ready to move, and we're just did a lot of finishing touches today. This morning was up early getting 8 boxes of hazardous waste out of the house, so that way it's not here for when we start the pictures and showing it. So we're ready, and hopefully over the next month or so we get squared away, and I'll have a new place to play games in. Moving on, we've got a bunch of articles this week to cover. It was kind of a slower news week, but some of these are kind of big. And the first article we are going to hit is a big update from Bungie. Coming directly from Bungie.net, a marathon development update. And in the update, they thank the fans not only for your passionate feedback around Marathon, but also for your patience while they took the time to listen closely. So what this basically said is that they made the decision to delay the September 23rd release with no official release date now. And this is kind of no surprise, Pikachu. We all saw this coming. I think there was a couple articles Alex and I talked about a while back where they said that Sony had canceled marketing for Marathon, so we thought maybe a delay was coming, and here it is. Quickly jump into the chat. Zombie thanks Tricky for the gift sub. Welcome to the chat, Zombie. And for Marathon itself, I mean, most of us are not surprised. The initial feedback was lukewarm at best, and this is kind of what they're focusing on. They want to go back to the drawing board, and some of the things that they're going to be focusing on are more challenging, engaging AI encounters, making combat more tense and strategic, and then increasing the visual fidelity of the game and adding more social experiences, which has me concerned. Tricky, you share any of my concerns or thoughts, or what do you think about this delay? Or you could ignore me unless you're on mute. Okay, we're going to go to Yield. Yield, what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, Marathon's got to hit a home run, almost, you would think, because Sony's kind of putting their finger on Bungie. So they need to make sure they got their I's dotted and T's crossed, but I don't know. I'm not hearing anything that's getting me all warm and fuzzy for the game, but it makes sense to push it back and do some rethinks on it. I don't know about the social thing, like you said. I don't know. I don't know. I think that time has come and gone.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what they are going to do overall, but Alex, you have any thoughts you want to bring to the table?
Well, first off, Matt, I had to start my second recording because it fucked up. Would you do a countdown with me real quick?
New recording in 5, 4, 3, 2,
2,
1.
1. What's your time at, Matt, so I can tell Tricky?
46:04.
46:04. Okay. So yeah, I mean, for me, a Marathon, this project is doomed. I don't know if it's not gonna win on nostalgia, if people aren't excited by what they've seen so far, if they're having to delay it. I mean, Bungie said, thanks for your passionate feedback. I thought that was part of the problem. Nobody was passionate about this game, or very few people seem passionate about this game. I don't know, it just seems like a project that's just kind of dead in the water, if I'm being entirely honest. And there's just not a lot of hype around Bungie. I don't know, maybe people were, after Destiny, people were expecting something bigger. Maybe they wanted Destiny 3, who knows? Or maybe people just want to keep playing Destiny. I don't know, but it definitely seems like there isn't enough positivity around this game, and that's definitely not going to help Bungie in the short term, or maybe even the long term, because they having to delay this project, and who knows, maybe in the end scrap it, after what happened with Concord, and a lot of Sony's live service projects being either delayed or canceled. This could not be a worse situation for Bungie, unless they actually do have to cancel the game.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know what is going on. I don't know if it's... So, listen, they put out the trailer with what they felt was going to be a strong showing, and it didn't garner a lot of attention, and as a result, now listen, not all delays are bad. Look what happened with Sonic the Hedgehog. They put out the trailer, everybody reamed that design to hell and back, and they came out with something even better, and now it's a successful trilogy. It's, I dare to say, loved worldwide, and they actually came back to a massive success in the movie series. I can only hope the best for Bungie. I know looking at it, I'm not interested in what Marathon brings to the table. I stopped being interested in what Destiny brought to the table years ago. However, maybe this will lead to some success. I don't know what they mean by social interactions, but certainly they could just be talking about the social experience versus what is available in Destiny. Maybe they're thinking of better ways to engage the people. Hopefully not engage them to fleece them of every dollar they have, because that's always the concern I have, is that they rework the social aspect to be able to get more money out of people. Let's hope they're learning their lesson. Has Tricky come back yet?
I am here.
What's your thoughts on the whole Bungie delaying Marathon?
I have no opinion. I can't. I could care less about this game. I could care. They could cancel it, and I still wouldn't give a shit.
So what you're saying is Sony spent their money well with Bungie.
I didn't think so when they bought them. I didn't think. How many places has Bungie been? They were with Microsoft. They left Microsoft. Then they went to Activision, left Activision. Now they're with Sony. And how soon until they leave Sony? And then they're going to be. I just couldn't care less about this anymore.
Okay. Well,
Matt,
maybe...
before we move on, I do want to comment that delays aren't bad necessarily when people care about the game. Like if it's like a game like a Zelda game where they have to delay it for some extra polish, people will probably be like, "Oh, that sucks," but I still want to play that game. The problem becomes when it's delayed and your marketing campaign is canceled or at least pushed back, and it seems like no one wants to play your game. That is a problem.
Well, and that's the thing, because they're going to address the fact that it seemed like a lot of people didn't want to play this game. So now, whatever they're doing, hopefully they make it engaging enough for people to actually want it. Speaking of wanting things, Sony seems to want Warner Brothers game assets. Coming from Insider Gaming, written by Mike Straw. Basically, this is saying that Warner Brothers Discovery announced on June 9th that it was splitting its company into two separate entities, streaming and studio, the streaming and studio, so all the movies and things, and then WBD Global Networks. So basically what they're saying is that Sony may be eyeing up the key franchises, including Mortal Kombat, Harry Potter, and Game of Thrones. Of course, the DC Universe is included in that. So I don't know. I mean, with the hit that was Hogwarts Legacy, obviously multiverses was canceled. Mortal Kombat still seems to be strong. Game of Thrones, there's not a lot, but there was a recent Game of Thrones game announced at Summer Games Fest that looks interesting. And DC Universe, so basically Suicide Squad and Arkham series. So, I don't know. Tricky, do you think this is a smart move by Sony, given their track record now of buying other studios?
If they take care of these assets, absolutely. I mean, the fact that Sony now owns Evo, so bringing Mortal Kombat into that fold and being able to, highlight that would be, good for them. I'm trying to think of what Warner Brothers does. They're not involved with the Arkham games, right? That's
DC.
It's DC, but that's not who's making the games. That's Rocksteady.
No,
Rocksteady.
that's Rocksteady, but still, it's a.
But is
still,
Rocksteady under WB?
No, but they would have had to get in the rights from WB.
I'm not sure that. I don't know. Yeah. If they take care of the games, good. If they don't, then it's just another useless purchase.
Well, hopefully they have a little bit more of a hands-on approach than they've done with Bungie. Because, yeah, they need to focus on that. Alex, your thoughts?
I mean, it's also worth noting that we still don't know how Bungie falls under PlayStation because they're still independent, but they're owned by Sony. So
very loosely, evidently.
It's a weird relationship that they've never really defined.
Alex, your thoughts?
I think getting Mortal Kombat would be smart. Otherwise, I don't know how much people care about like the Lord of the Rings games anymore. You could get a good Batman game out and then Sony could have Batman, Wolverine, and Spider-Man. That'd be pretty awesome. But as we've seen, like the best Batman Arkham game was a long time ago. It's called City. The others pale in comparison. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that about Asylum. I mean, well, maybe pale in comparison, but Arkham City was the best one.
You continue to be wrong about that.
Okay, well, I guarantee I'm not the only one who thinks that.
And by the way, Rocksteady is owned by Warner Brothers Games.
So maybe getting Rocksteady, giving them something better to work with than the Suicide Squad, getting Rocksteady and getting, you know, the license to Mortal Kombat, you'd have to buy NetherRealm too, and you'd get like Ed Boon in house then. You know, that might be good. Otherwise, though, I don't know, because Warner Brothers has been trying to sell off. You know, we know Sony has been trying to do PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale, their own Super Smash Bros. Type thing. Didn't work out. They kind of gave up on it. And I don't see multiverses. You know, it's not like they're going to revive multiverses. That thing's just going to die. But yeah, I think the strongest things they could get would be Mortal Kombat, so they would have their own fighting franchise, which they don't have. And then also getting Rocksteady, we know that their pedigree, despite maybe some of the, you know, their more recent efforts, getting them in the door might actually be a really good idea. So I mean, there are assets there that you could use, but I wouldn't buy the entire games division. I would just say we want to buy these assets and see if Warner Brothers would be willing to sell off things, you know, piece by piece. You know, you may not be able to do that. They may say, no, if you want all this stuff, you can. But getting two key pieces like that, you know, the people who made the Arkham games, or at least two of the Arkham games, and then, or no, I think they made three of them. And then the Mortal Kombat makers would be pretty stout, pretty good. If you can't get Capcom, that'd be a pretty good way to go otherwise.
Well, I hope Capcom continues to remain independent because they're doing well enough. They don't need to be brought.
They don't, but oof.
I just googled.
I mean, the fanboy in me wants to see it happen. We'd be like, oh yeah, blah, even though I really don't care.
I just googled the studios that WB Games owns. It's Avalanche, NetherRealm, Rocksteady, TT Games, which you guys know makes the Lego games. WB Games Montreal, Boston, and New York, and also San Francisco. So they own quite a bit of studios, and those Lego games could be profitable. NetherRealm, obviously, we talk about with Mortal Kombat could be profitable, and Avalanche, they're currently behind the. Are they the ones? No, they're not making the Harry Potter games. That's
Avalanche Studios.
I know they made the Mad Max game.
Yeah, well, if it's the Avalanche I'm thinking of, they also did the Just Cause games.
No.
Okay. Must be a different Avalanche then.
Okay, so Avalanche was behind Hogwarts Legacy. Just Cause it. Hold on.
I thought that was Avalanche.
I'm googling it right now. Hold on, give me one second.
I could be wrong.
It does say Avalanche Studios, but its publisher is Square Enix. So that's Avalanche Studios. This is Avalanche Software.
Ah, okay, different Avalanche. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's some good IPs. I mean, the price would have to be right though. That's the big thing.
All right. And yield.
So the question with, I mean, getting the Mortal Kombat thing would be a no-brainer for Sony. The question I have is, like, if you get the DC universe and you get Hogwarts, so then are you still in negotiations then with Warner Brothers when you go to make that game? Because obviously they own the digital properties. If you own the video game properties, does that mean you need to consult with them? And it's a question I'm throwing out there. I know none of you may not know the answer. That's something to think about. Alex, help me out here. What was that one racing game we both liked? BlackRock
Split
Studios.
second.
So when you said that, I got excited because I'm like, oh, there's hope for another split second game. And then you said the popular ones, and I was like, oh crap. You gave me hope for a second, Matt. But that's all I've got to say on it. The Mortal Kombat would be a good get, even though I'm not a big fighting guy or a Mortal Kombat guy. It's a no-brainer. And if you can get DC, as long as you can put out good games, you know, that would be good. That's the problem, is finding a good studio to put out good games.
See, all right.
And with With Rocksteady, though, the main people have left. So it's not the same Rocksteady that we know.
So Warner
No,
Brothers,
I'm done.
that's accurate.
Warner Brothers Discovery. There was an article a couple weeks back. They're looking to sell their whole video game division, WB Games, or essentially selling the entire division. That was reported back in December. So I don't. You brought up a good point. It's like even if Sony does get it, I mean Warner Brothers still owns the rights to DC. So if they continue to make DC products, I would assume they would still need to get the okay from Warner Brothers in itself. I mean, that would be my thinking.
All right.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Sony has two Marvel properties that it's making games for right now, Spider-Man, and Wolverine. So clearly, planning and communicating with other parent companies is not a big issue.
Okay. Moving on, next article and a Blue Sky posting comes in as the Switch 2, we discussed last week, has broken console sales records. However, some of the third-party studios have come out and said, listen, our titles have sold less than expected on this system, which now people are coming out there and slamming the system and saying, well, see, it's not doing well. Third-party sales are not bad, are not up to snuff. However, a Blue Sky post by Matt Piscatella says, not to post in discourse with everybody, but they're better than Switch 1. So maybe this is just even though they're better than Switch 1, they're not meeting the sales goals of these companies. I mean, when you look at the Switch 2 third-party titles, you got Street Fighter 6, Yakuza 0, Sonic and Shadow Generations, games that have been out on other systems and platforms for a while now. So I guess my question is, how much did these companies expect to sell? Like, what do we think their budget might have been? But when I also say, listen, they put time and effort to get those games onto the system, and with a bunch of them being those game key cards, meaning people would have to put the card in and download the game to their console, maybe that was a deterrent as well. Time will tell, but I don't know. Tricky, your thoughts on this yes, they did bad, but maybe they're good types of news stories?
I when I saw this, I didn't know quite what I was going to say because of the fact that I'm of two minds with this. It's like a lot of the third-party sales, the third-party games, they're already out on other consoles, including the Switch itself. So, did you really expect just to sell that many more copies of the game when people have already been playing on other consoles? I guess it really only depends if, like, the Switch is your one and only console and you're not playing it on others. Then they could have expected sales, but I can't see, like, them really having high expectations for these. I think they're selling pretty accurately. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to read into it and say like it's failing, because I don't think it's failing, but we've said time and time again, and you'll back me up on this, like these publishers and developers gotta like get their expectations under control, especially like Square Enix. Like, oh, this game didn't sell what we wanted it to. Well, get your expectations under control, because if it's selling good, leave it the hell alone. I mean, going back to like the game me and Alex are playing right now, Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, we both will say it's a very, very good game, but because it didn't sell well, we're never going to get a sequel.
Well, it didn't sell well according to Ubisoft.
Right. So, like, that's what I'm saying. these people got to temper their expectations. You know, there's enough people playing this game, and now that, you know, PlayStation Plus players are playing it for free, you know, it's gonna garner some traction. The same way Days Gone did. Oh, Days Gone didn't sell that well. Well, everybody I talk to loves Days Gone.
Loves it. Yeah.
So like, do you, I understand, and like I'm not jaded enough to say like, oh, you know, you can't pay attention to sales of games because that is the driving force in this industry. But if you have a game that's beloved, and especially like a new IP like Days Gone, and you know, there's a lot of people. I'm not exactly sure who said it, but somebody in our community is like, the reason they didn't play Days Gone is because it's too similar to The Last of Us. And anybody that plays Days Gone knows it's really not that accurate, not that similar. Like, there's different aspects to it. So you have, again, I'm rambling on, but you got to temper your expectations. You know, they're going to sell what they're going to sell, and you got to, you know, make your decisions from there. But to say, oh, it's below our lowest estimates, then your estimates were wrong, and you should fire whoever the hell is telling you that those should be your estimates.
Right.
I'm off my soapbox.
No, and you brought up, you know, something you and Yield have been talking about. Yield, I mean, you still feel that way, that maybe the bean counters are miscounting beans?
Well, yeah. I mean, so first off, I think it's a little too early to start screaming that these third parties aren't pulling their weight. But on top of that, also, on the flip side of that coin, it's games that have already been out. So it's not like they've launched new games for the Switch, or it was their new game multi-platform and it's failing on the Switch. So you got to look at it both ways. I do agree that their some game expectations are just set way too high. And they're like, oh, it failed, but it sold 8 million copies. And it's like, most games would love to sell 8 million copies.
They'd be ecstatic they got 8 million copies.
You know, so I don't know if that's us outside looking in, or if it's, you know, if it's just where the industry is right now. And if it is, I kind of feel sad that that's where we're at. I mean, I understand that development costs are through the roof now, but we've sat here on the show and said that they need to rein that in. I mean, I was thinking about this the other day. I'm enjoying smaller games made by smaller studios way more than I am my bigger games. Like, I still enjoy my bigger games, but I seem to be moving or making my choices to, you know, those smaller games. And I don't know if that's just because they're hitting my wheelhouse or what, but it just kind of made me think of how we've talked about of everything's just gotten so big and everybody keeps trying to outdo the next person that it's kind of starting to hurt the gaming industry. But that's just me.
Well, maybe it's not just you. Alex, do you agree?
Sorry, I was collecting my thoughts there. Shit, what the hell? Yo, can you just remind me your last point? Sorry, I had a point,
so
and
I kind of went off on the fact that I feel that the gaming industry has gotten big in the sense of everybody's trying to outdo each other, so the development costs have gone up, and I've moved my point or switched my gaming to a point to smaller games. And I don't know if that's just because they're making games I like, or it's just, I don't know, where I've gravitated lately.
okay, no, I got you. So yeah, I got it back now. Lost it there for a sec. Sorry, old age. But no, I think I agree with you that the game industry has gotten too big. The problem is everyone got too cozy, putting money into big AAA games because they thought that was what people wanted. These big cinematic experiences, And it's kind of, you can still do those and be successful, but I think a lot of people have realized that it can't be everything you focus on. And getting away from that has been hard for people because for the longest time, it's like, okay, to make a lot of money, we need a big budget game. And that's not always the case. Now, I mean, yeah, you're not going to make, as much money with a smaller game as you may like a Horizon or a God of War, but you got to mix up your portfolio so that you're not just in on every single game. And if one game fails, then that studio's got to be shut down, a la Concord. So I think that the gaming companies have had a very big struggle trying to get away from, these bloating finances that they're dealing with making incredibly expensive games. But also, like in terms of the Switch, obviously it's very successful so far because the game, it's the hardware is selling fantastic. You also have a game like Mario Kart World is a launch game. That was maybe the best selling, if not, it was definitely one of the, if not the best selling game for the Switch. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or whatever they called it, but whatever the upped version of the Wii game or the Wii U game was. But that game is going to sell a lot over the lifetime. Most people, maybe half the people that buy that console are probably going to have that game when it's all said and done. The problem is yes, they have a launch lineup of games, but as everyone has pointed out, and Will pointed this out in our Trophy Wars chat that we have in Messenger, the games they put out were older. They've been available. And that probably probably did this like any remaster or like, anything like that. It's easier to put out, and so they need a launch lineup for Nintendo needed a little launch lineup. Probably went to third-party partners and said, hey, we need your help. And these games are just thrown out there in order to make some semblance of a launch lineup. The other problem is, and I made this comment in our chat as well, people really don't buy the Switch. If the Switch is your only gaming console, this does not apply. But if you are a multi-console home, PlayStation, Xbox, PC, whatever, you're not buying the Switch to play third-party games. You're just not, because it's not the optimal system to play them on. The Nintendo Switch is where you go to play the games that Nintendo makes, essentially, with maybe a few other purchases here and there. But you're not going to play Street Fighter on the Switch if you can play it on another console. You're just not going to do it. So this, like Nintendo consoles, even we started to see the Switch when the Genesis and the Super Nintendo. Because remember, Mortal Kombat was one of those big face-offs. Nintendo versus Genesis or Nintendo versus Sega. Genesis had blood. It was the best platform to play Mortal Kombat on, and you started to see the Switch even that early on, where the Super Nintendo wasn't necessarily the best place to play third-party games, and it definitely wasn't on the Nintendo 60. You definitely weren't. You were buying like Star Fox and Super Smash Brothers and Mario Party and Mario Kart, Banjo-Kazooie and Super Mario 64. Those are the games you were buying. Blast Corps, maybe. You weren't buying the third-party games to play on the Nintendo 64 unless, it was the only console you had. So in general, that's just kind of what the situation that Nintendo has gotten themselves in, where their console is not where you go to play third-party games if you have other options. And that's why I think, coupled with, yes, selling older games, that is what's the problem. It's not the Switch and the excitement for the Switch. It's the fact that people don't want to buy these games for the Switch too, because they either already have them or they have the opportunity to play them on another.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that I've said as well, is that I agree with your assessment. If this is your only gaming platform and you're interested in trying some of those other games, you could definitely do them. Now, from what I heard, something like Cyberpunk 2077 is a miracle working on the Switch 2, and maybe it's playing at 30 to 40 frames, which is sufficient for what the game has, but that it's a decent experience. Yakuza 0 is an older game and therefore available there. It's just providing more opportunities. But going back to what Yil was saying, yeah, maybe they need to lower their expectations. And maybe that's not something unique to their Switch lineup. Maybe that's something that all developers need to kind of understand these days. So more to come. Listen, the next big game coming out for the Switch 2 is Donkey Kong Bonanza, which I originally was going to pass on because I'm not a huge Donkey Kong fan. Then Nintendo had their Direct last week, and I looked at it and said, okay, I'm in. That looks like a fun time. So let's see what games actually come out for it, and wait to see if this console's trash or Nintendo's next big thing.
Man, I don't know what it is with everybody in Donkey Kong, but it just doesn't seem like I've got coworkers who bought the Switch. It seems like nobody but me is interested in a Donkey Kong game because I love Tropical Freeze, and Donkey Kong Country Returns was difficult, but I mean, it was still an enjoyable game that, they never should have taken King K. Rool away, I'll say that, because the bosses in that game were not that great. But, well, I guess to be fair, Tropical Freeze King K. Rool was not in that, and it had some good bosses. But no, I mean, like, I don't get why people just aren't really that behind Donkey Kong. And now this Donkey Kong Bonanza, which I will probably play whenever I buy the Switch, has the weirdest looking Donkey Kong ever, and everyone's like, "Yeah, I'm on board."
Well, I said
Completely
it this
stepping
way.
over Tropical Freeze. Completely stepping over Tropical Freeze.
I said it this way. It literally looks like a mashup of Mario Odyssey and Red Faction. Just being able to destroy whatever you want to get to wherever you need to, just being Donkey Kong. Going into our final article here, just real quick, not a lot for us to discuss on this, but Beatsaber, coming from their own website, says that they're looking to the future, planning the next big leap, and that they will no longer release updates for the PS4, PS5 version of their Beatsaber game starting in June 2025. I'm not sure what this exactly means, because what they're saying is it will not impact your ability to keep playing Beat Saber. It will still be available for purchase on PS4 and PS5 devices. You can still play or purchase songs or music packs that were released prior to June 18th, 2025. However, no new content will be released. Additionally, starting on January 21st, 2026, multiplayer will no longer be available. So there's the big change. However, they will still have cross-buy between the two systems. So it just sounds like they're done with the game, that they're not doing anything with it anymore, that they will still continue updating it on the PC version, but I don't know. This is just, this goes back to, have they sold enough units? Do they feel like keeping it updated and a lot? I don't know. Beat Saber is the premier VR game. So for them to say that they're no longer supporting a current systems version, to me says it's a big deal, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Yield?
I mean, it sounds like a big deal. I mean, you'd have to find out how many people are still playing it with it being VR only. I mean, obviously they're not going to put out any new songs for it. So, like, what catalog you got, you got. Maybe that's why you can still buy it, you can still play it. Not having multiplayer, somebody smarter than me would have to tell me, is that something that you have to, is it a server thing? That seemed a little odd that you're shutting multiplayer off, but I mean, it's, for some reason I'm not surprised by this. I'm not blown away by it, but that's probably because I don't have VR. If I did, I would probably very much enjoy it, because the videos I've seen of people playing it, I'm like, oh, that looks kind of cool.
All right. Alex?
I mean, and I expect this to happen with someone like Rocket League or Maker Psionics. At some point, you got to move on to do something else, right? If you're ending support for Beat Saber, it's like, hey, we're going to go do something else. We're going to make another experience. Could be VR, could be not. But
they're not.
I mean,
They're not moving on. They're just stopping development for this version. They're still making content for the PC version.
Okay, but does that not mean that they might have people making content for the PC version, but they could also have people move into something else?
No, listen, Beat Saber on the PS4 and PS5 has always been the inferior version. Like Will said earlier, like, this is, they treated the PlayStation version of this game like they treated like the 3DS version of a game. It was always lacking features. It was always lacking content. It was like the redheaded stepchild of their division. Like, they never really gave a shit about this. This doesn't surprise me one bit. I'm surprised it lasted this long.
All right. Well, I don't think there's much more to say on this subject. Just wanted to bring it up, make people aware, since this is evidently a PlayStation-focused podcast. But with that said, we can move on to our questions, which there's only one question.
Time to check my social media, yeah.
And this is actually going to be a perfect opportunity for me to step away real quick, because Daryl asked a question, and this has absolutely nothing to do with me. Why does Angel Reese think she can ride the coattails of the GOAT Caitlin Clark in the WNBA? So you all talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
Do either one of you guys have any idea what he's talking about?
I only
Yeah.
know what I've seen on social media, and all I've got to say is you can't. While she is really good right now, you can't call her the GOAT. That term is overused to or it's just overused. All right, just quit trying to crown somebody the greatest of all time when they could come out next year and suck. Now she probably won't, but still, temper your expectations there. I don't know. I don't follow the WNBA. I don't really care. It seems Caitlin Clark is leaps and bounds better than she is, but also everybody in the league is bullying Caitlin Clark. So I don't know. No, don't really care. Next question.
Alex, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, for anyone who doesn't know, Caitlin Clark was a premier basketball player at University of Iowa. She graduated and played in the last year was a rookie season in the WNBA. Came in with massive expectations, and she had a rough start, but it seems like she's playing really well now. She's got everything going. The Fever in a better spot because of her, because the Indiana Fever before her weren't a great team. She's definitely helped make them better. But Angel Reese is another player in the WNBA, and they kind of have a rivalry. And yeah, I'm sure there's some people, I guess, don't necessarily appreciate that Caitlin Clark has been given so much press, and other players are like, hey, we're good too. But I mean, in the end, like, there have been more viewers of the WNBA in, so you can make what you want of it. But I mean, some of it I think is maybe a little bit of jealousy, a little envy, but also people feel like, I guess, maybe Caitlin Clark hasn't earned it. I mean, despite, I don't know how long she's been playing basketball, she had a great college, started off well in the WNBA, so I don't know. I guess people feel like maybe she hogs too much of the spotlight, and there's not enough. It's more about Caitlin Clark than, I guess maybe that rubs people the wrong way.
Yeah. If you see Angel Reese play, she's dog shit. I have no idea how she even got a contract, but she's running around telling everybody she's the greatest, she's better, and just there's a guy on social media that just like goes through every Angel Reese game, and she has more rebounds per game than points, and most of the time she's rebounding her own shot, her own layup. She sucks. Angel Reese should just shut up and focus on her game and stop worrying about what another player's doing, regardless if it's Caitlin Clark or whatever. I'm absolutely sick and tired of that girl talking. But I think that's the answer Daryl wanted, but it's very accurate. Matt, are you back yet? Matt is not back, so we're gonna move on. I'm gonna take over the show real quick, and we're going to do our topic of the week.
Toe. Topic of the week. Well, fine then. Fuck you, Matt.
Yeah, fuck you, Matt, for not being back.
If you ever edit, hey, don't be so hard on Matt. If you ever edit that to close the spacing, you're fucking up because it's perfect as it is.
Well, all I'm gonna say is, Gareth, week 1. That's all I can say for right now.
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, neither do I.
You will eventually. Coming from WindowsCentral.com, written by Jez Corden, Microsoft and AMD have officially entered a new multi-year partnership for the first-party Xbox hardware. Here's what it really means. I don't have Matt's notes, so I'm going to just start reading the article a little bit, and hopefully Matt can get back here and summarize this a little bit. Xbox revealed its ASUS partnership handheld. It was met with some excitement, but also some concern. Exclusively revealed as an Xbox codename Keenan at the Xbox Showcase earlier this month, Microsoft unveiled the new Xbox Ally PC gaming handheld. This device is potentially going to be the most powerful handheld made, utilizing AMD's Z2 platform. Some speculated that perhaps this was the first time that Xbox would, in fact, be more of a PC than a console. coupled with Xbox CEO Phil Spencer's previous statements on bringing third-party stores to console and our own sources on Microsoft's exploration of PC game support into first-party hardware, the games have increasingly revolved around support for the existing Xbox games and console hardware in general, and that's it. All right, so Matt's note on here was new hardware. I thought Microsoft console gaming was dead. Discuss. So I'll go to you first, Yield. Xbox is now partnered with AMD to make another console, which I think a lot of people indicated that maybe Microsoft was moving away from the console division and they were going to be focusing on making their games available on other platforms, including, just recently PlayStation. What's your thoughts on their partnership? Do you think we're getting another console, or do you think this is just inevitable?
I must have missed something. Did they say console? Because I heard you say handheld.
Okay, so Microsoft.
I initially thought handheld meant like a controller, but you're talking about like a handheld gaming device.
I'm talking like a Switch. I'm talking like a Vita.
Okay. I guess you both missed the news story. Xbox is coming out with their own version, essentially, the best way for you guys to...
Steam Deck?
It's a Steam Deck, but it's Xbox. It's Microsoft's version of the Vita. It's more powerful. It's going to run Xbox Live. It's basically going to be a Steam Deck. If Steam Deck and Vita had a love child, that's what this is going to be. But this isn't going to run Steam, so to speak. This is going to run Xbox.
Run Xbox. So it's been rumored for a while that Microsoft was going to dip their toe into the handheld market, and pairing with AMD, that's a good partner to have if you're going to do that. Nintendo has seemed to kind of have that market down with how it's a portable console / handheld. So unless Microsoft is kind of going that route, a handheld just doesn't seem to work. Now, if they're approaching it as it's not a handheld as per the Steam Deck or the Vita, whereas any of their games will work on it, and it's kind of a la the Switch, I can see where it could work, where if you can play any of your games on the go. We've said it before, people who live in big cities who take the subway or take the bus, that would work for them. Those of us that live in rural parts, it doesn't really work for us. But if you're going to make one, you need to make it good, and then you need to support it. I'm looking at you, Sony. That's my thoughts on it. Need some more information, but they've got a good partner.
Alex, your thoughts?
That's pretty simple. I mean, yes, we know Microsoft is looking to get you to play their games on, any device they possibly can. And this, I'm assuming, would allow you to access Xbox Live, pull stuff from the cloud, all that kind of stuff. So it's just another device for you to play all their games on. But as far as them getting out of the hardware market, I mean, that transition is not going to happen. It's going to be slow. I still expect there to be a next Xbox console, the next generation, or who knows, maybe they do have another console like this, like the a la the Xbox One or the Xbox Series X, but then the generation after that, they move towards more of like a handheld thing. I'm not entirely sure, but that transition is going to be slow. So they'll still be in the market for for a little bit here. But, with a portable gaming or a handheld gaming device, realistically, with the way they've built their cloud services up, I mean, if it's just like an Xbox in the palm of your hand, that allows you to kind of game on the go or game when you're at home and you don't have TV. I don't know. Like this goes in line still with their strategy of play our games almost anywhere you fucking can. And it taps into a market that clearly Nintendo has shown people still want. So it can be successful, sure. But considering they've had trouble, considering they're third place in the console races as far as hardware sales go, that doesn't bode well for this thing, honestly. If you want, I don't know what pricing is going to be, but if this could be a cheaper way to play your Xbox games, sure. But again, they've had trouble selling hardware. At least they haven't sold hardware as well as Sony or Nintendo. So making another console or another device to maybe split your sales may not be the best thing for them to do.
So perfect time for me to jump back in. So currently the ROG Ally out there goes for around $800. I'm not too certain they're going to be making anything cheaper, but the entire future forward view of this comes from Sarah Bond's quote in the article, which says, "I'm thrilled to share we've established a strategic multi-year partnership with AMD to co-engineer silicon across a portfolio of devices, including our next generation Xbox consoles in your living room and in your hands."
There you go.
So it sounds like to me that it's a multi-pronged strategy of making devices that directly play or maybe play via the cloud. But this is the first confirmation we've heard that yes, they will have another Xbox console. Now, given the way that this generation went for them, I don't know if that's the right decision to make, but I think they've got a strategy, a bold one, Cotton. Let's see if it's good for them. And Tricky shared multiple times the images of the allies in our text chat.
I'm sorry. I was trying to say it on my computer and it didn't show it went through. I apologize.
It's all good. It's listen. It looks like a sleek device. It fits the ROG Ally theme, and the big thing about this is that it's basically a portable Windows PC. It's gonna play the Xbox app. It'll play.
Is it running
What is
PC? I mean, is it running like Steam and stuff like that? Because I thought it was just Xbox stuff.
So what'll end up happening, because it's a Windows machine, I think they're going to have a UI similar to what Steam does. So Steam's deck runs off of Linux, but it runs a custom user interface that runs Steam in like this nice GUI. I think Xbox is going to be doing the same thing here because it's a Windows 11 machine. However, just like in the Steam Deck that you can go back to desktop mode, I think you're going to be able to go back to desktop mode on the new handheld, and there it's Windows. You can install Steam on Windows, so you're going to have access to your Steam library as well.
Understood.
It's interesting. I'm going to be interested in seeing the price point. Evidently, the handheld will go live for pre-orders in August, with a launch in November/December. I forgot the exact date, but it's definitely late fall.
Is that confirmed or is that just a rumor?
No, that's confirmed. That's the pre-orders will open and the launch window.
Okay.
If that moves, it moves, but that's what they're saying now.
All right.
So sorry I had to step away, but yeah, I just wanted to bring back, because the conversation always is like, what is Xbox doing? Given the current generation, are they even going to survive? And here it shows that yes, they will continue on until somebody decides to say, no, we're pulling the plug, which could happen at any time. It's Microsoft. Who knows? That said, still be interesting to see what comes out from PlayStation at some point in the future, but who knows?
Well, I'm sure they'll try to dabble in it again, because they can't. Sony has I don't know if it's a bad habit, but when Microsoft does something and it shows the glimmer of it being successful, Sony rushes something out and goes, "Look, we can do it better."
Yeah, Microsoft definitely is the Me Too company. They just want to be able to be a part of the game. Alrighty. Well, with that said, unless anybody else has anything else they want to bring up, we've come to the end of another episode of the Trophy Wars. We'll go in reverse order this time and do Tricky first for your shout-outs.
Shout out to everybody. Shout out to my bed, who I'm going to be seeing very shortly. Shout out to you guys. And I'll be gone for the next 2 weeks. I'm going on vacation. So I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Nice. Yield.
Shout out to Matt, Alex, and Tricky for recording tonight. Tricky, have a fun vacation. Shout out to V for everything she does behind the scenes. Shout out to Nitro, Brain 76, and Prepare to Die Scum for all the multiplayer games that we were able to participate in this week. Shout out to all the pimps in the mountains of the whoredom. Thank you for listening, downloading, hanging out with us, interacting with us in the groups. Shout out to Gareth for his competition and everything that he puts into that, because that's a lot of work that he does, and also what he had to do to set up the Google Doc that keeps track of everything. So big shout out to Gareth and the community for participating in that. And twerp you to the heat, not really the heat, twerp you to the humidity, because it sucks now. That's it.
All right. Alex?
Huge shout out to the listeners, the fans, the fuel to the fire that is Trophy Horrors, are awesome. Thank you all very much for your continued support of the show. It is what keeps us running at full tilt. Give a shout out to my co-host Yield, Tricky, and Matt, as well as a shout out to Will for all his awesome he makes for us for the show. Thank you, Will, for dedicating your time to that. Last but not least, give a shout out to my awesome and loving girlfriend Ashley, who is visiting family for the week. So I've basically just been lying on the couch watching a bunch of old movies, like early 2000s, late 1990s movies, like the House on a Haunted Hill and Joyride. So yeah, I've been gorging myself on a couple days, but I hope she has a good time seeing her family. And I love you, hun. Safe travels home. And yeah, that'll be my shoutouts.
Alrighty. And I'll say simply is thanks for recording with us tonight, gents, as well as thank you to Will, Zombie, and MZ who were in chat. Shout out to the Channel 3 community. Make sure to check out channel3.gg for some gamified social media. And shout out to V for everything you do. With that said, thank you for listening to episode 677 of Trophy Horrors. We're out, folks.
Happy Trophy.
See ya.
Say goodbye, Alex.
Later.
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and 12 Stone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.